Good afternoon, Miss Aldana. How are you doing?
I'm great, Miss Jones. It's good to see you.
Great seeing you as well.
Yeah, and great lesson. Another winner, I believe.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. How are you feeling about our unit with waves?
I'm feeling pretty confident with it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like it's been a lot of improvement, and
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it went well.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that the students were felt trust for you, and
Nice.
could have an anticipation of where you were going to go with the lesson. So you've been able to develop some routines with them. I feel like you're better able to gauge the individuals of the students. So the
Mhm.
differentiation as far as how you interact with the kids and how you get them engaged in the lesson itself was, I think, is definitely grown quite a bit,
Oh,
with your
thank you.
relationship with them. Also, looking at the planning for the lesson,
Mhm.
putting together the different dynamics to take advantage of the fact that we have like 87 minutes
Yes.
as for our block. So giving them an opportunity to, see a phenomenon, have some questions, some discourse, um, and look at the academic vocabulary as well as making sure that you bring in the lesson. How do you feel about a whole digital program? Because there are no books.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you since I'm not in the system. Because you have to
Mm-hmm.
have a subscription per person.
Mm-hmm.
For thank you for taking the time to print out the lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of old school, so I do appreciate
Mm-hmm.
being able to write it out in hand and flip pages. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm adjusting, and I'm seeing now, not only for me to get adjusted to the program, but also thank you for sharing your ideas on how to navigate the students through with underlining, highlighting, and for them to use that tool, because I need to be familiar with it so that I can help them and teach them in the 21st century school.
It makes a huge difference when it because it forces the kids to actually read the material
Mhm.
and teaching the kids. And thank you to being open to that because the kids don't often realize that it's not about speed reading through something and calling words, but it's about really getting the concepts and having that base understanding of what those sentences are actually trying to show you.
Mhm.
So having them to highlight, and I know sometimes we have to go through it a little bit faster because we're
Right.
reviewing, which I liked the review that you did, which is very important. And of course, during that review, you were able to do some formative assessment, so formative assessing as well,
Yes.
looking the what we talk about the quick checks
Mhm.
to see if they're following along, if they really understood the lesson previously, if they're making connections between the previous lesson and where we're going with it. So I enjoyed seeing that. But yeah, it's these are the little um, classroom management skills that you're adding to the pot
Awesome.
to make sure that everybody stays on task, is engaged, but not just engaged so that they're not being a disruption, but also engaged intellectually and invested in the lesson and what comes next.
Nice. Earlier, we talked about teaching to a standpoint from understanding the learner
Mm-hmm.
and being able to understand what they're able to do, what
Mm-hmm.
level each student is has reached and attained, and then also, so as far as the lessons, to me, what I love is that when I came in this class, just being able to watch what you've been modeling as far as lessons. I
Mm-hmm.
came in having a grasp of, okay, here are these individual tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what needs to be done as far as assessments.
Mm-hmm.
Here's assignments. Here's homework. But you've really showed me and demonstrated how to pull it together and make it connected and relevant.
Well, thank you. The most important thing is making sure that things, like you said, have relevance and they have meaning. You don't give homework for the sake of giving homework. It's practice,
Right.
but it's a specific practice, and it doesn't mean that you have to give somebody pages and pages of something to do. But the very simple tasks that have been part of the culture in this classroom help tie in directly to the lesson. So, it
Right.
helps the student to be prepared, but it also doesn't completely alienate the student that didn't do the homework. So, I'm really happy that you were able to continue doing that because it's all it's all connected.
Right.
Because then you're practicing the academic vocabulary, you're assigning meaning to it, it's forcing them to also read the text. At that time, because we have that culture within the class of the highlighting, the underlining, and the circling, then they're associating all of those tasks together.
Right.
Like, oh, well, let me go ahead and do this part of it because I know it's going to come later. So it becomes a part of the culture of the classroom.
And then also what I love about it is the part where they get to see it, especially for students who are visual learners. And then they also have an opportunity to, if there's kinesthetic learners, they get to write on the board. You have the leaders in the group, and everyone has an opportunity to speak. Because I think when I first started my first lesson
Yeah.
with you, I was doing a lot of the talking, and then I would ask a question, so one at a time. But you really showed me more so how how to engage the students, allow them to talk with each other.
Discourse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
It didn't matter what levels students were.
Let's take one moment
Sure.
and just. So when we're looking at the idea of making sure that there's enough discourse that's happening with the students, it really helps to bring them in and make them feel like they can pull on their background knowledge or that they can show what connections they're cluing into. And everybody loves to be able to be that person for a moment that is speaking. But that exchange and monitoring that exchange, because I saw when you were going to a lot of the individual tables, because we teamed them up on purpose,
Nice.
and
Yes.
redirecting some of the conversation, making sure that everybody had a voice, making sure that they stayed, their sense of relevancy, that the topic that needed to be addressed, and directing that flow of discourse is super important.
Yes, and there was a lot of times when we stopped by certain tables, and you might have a table or two with wonderful ideas, and on the other side of the room, I'm like, there was a wonderful idea in the first one, but the second one might have been a little bit different, and we're off task. So that was great to be able to experience the differences, so that we could steer the teaching
in the right direction.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, tip. Just you can like throw this as hard as you can.
Energy.
Yes.
So when we're talking about making sure that, and that's the difficult part, because we're trying to keep track of the pacing,
Right.
because we have a certain amount of content we have to get through, and we only have these kids for a certain specific period of time. So I saw that you were very aware of that, but at the same time trying to check for understanding, so that if you needed to go back and go over something specific, that you took the time to do that. So that's very important. Some people just power through everything, and and then there are parts when sometimes kids say things that could hijack the lesson.
Right.
And so I saw that you were very skilled with that. You're like, okay, well, so we're going to go on to the next point here without calling too much attention to that child in a negative way, because of course they're children. So emotionally, they're very sensitive sometimes.
Right. And I did notice that some students do want attention, and they will, go off task for that. Try to make jokes within. Now, the first time I had done this last lesson on topic 8. Let's see. You're right. I was trying to push on through. I was concerned about time because we had the review of the
Yes.
lesson,
Yes.
going over the introduction, and then the next lesson as well, and then moving into the lab. And I wanted to make sure that we had enough time for the lab.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we had that conversation because then the next lesson, once I did it again, it I felt like I could relax a little bit more, pace myself. And then even today, when some students were absent, you gave me the opportunity to teach them in a mini group.
Yeah.
The same lesson I was able to complete in 25 minutes. That
Yeah.
took, 85 minutes before.
Yeah.
So, and I was worried about rushing through, but this time I was able to check with them since it was a small group and find out, what did you do? Did they complete their assignments? Did they watch the videos? Did they highlight? And then, we were able to quickly move through it.
Yes.
So it's
and also too, it really the composition of the group that you're working with. So when
Right.
you're having the large group and you have many groups within that, that may be more challenging. Sometimes a larger group makes it easier to get everyone to follow along with the same routine. But with a smaller, more focused group, it's that particular group of kids are very they're very on task, and they're the ones that do take the time to look at their assignments when they're not in class. So it makes a difference when you have students who are in a habit of being prepared for a lesson, and other students who, a lesson is something that happens to them, as opposed to them being a part of a learning experience.
And you're right. One table doing one lab as opposed to 10 tables, and making sure that everyone heard
Yes.
the instructions and that they understood it clearly. And then they understand what's in front of them and what their materials are.
Yes.
There's a lot of different components.
Yeah.
Even today with assignments and getting the grades in, I'm still absorbing from you and learning so much, even today. I told you earlier, I was just like shocked on how you were able to have the classroom, keep them quiet, but while they are busy working on assignments, you did a check with them to see. Please tell me about that.
It's all about the using, and this is again a part of when we talk about classroom management,
Right.
because you have to consider all of your components.
Right.
And so if you're very clear about what your goal is going to be and you're thinking ahead of time. So like we had the conversation about these are the number of students who have completed all of the assignments. I've already reviewed where they're at. So I know already ahead of time that they're going to need this next step lesson that's an extension of the lesson that we're already doing.
Right.
So that they can be engaged in something meaningful that is also going to not propel them so far ahead of everyone else, but just an extension of what we're all learning, but something that they can actively do, while you have other students who need that opportunity to catch up, if you will, to everyone else, and making sure that they have understanding of what they're completing, but that they're actually, because you have a variety. You have it's not always the fact that kids don't understand something when you have kids that are trailing behind the rest of your lesson or the rest of your class.
Right.
Especially in middle school. You have a lot of students who are working at their own pace, but you also have students who, for whatever reason, whatever's going on with them that day, it was just not the moment. They weren't ready to fully engage with the assignment. And so I try to work in those moments where we do have a little bit of time where, okay, this is what we need to do. I've seen that everybody's kind of at a different place. Let's push pause on moving everyone at the same pace on the same assignment right now, and let's focus on the individual needs of the students.
Right. And I thank you for that because I've always seen like a herding model. Like, come on, all the kids, let's get this together. and then if you didn't get on the track of where we are right now and the assignment that we're on right now, then you're going to get left behind like that, and that's it. So if you didn't complete it, there's no understanding of their situation, but you have conversations with them. You show me, and as far as rubric, how to put the grades in, how to make it make sense, and for the parents to understand the process.
As long as there is a flow, a logical flow,
Mhm.
and that your learning objectives are clear. It's clear enough that anyone walking into the room when you're teaching a lesson should be able to follow along with the lesson. They should be able to walk away with an understanding of what you were trying to do. And that's one of the things that we get observed a lot, and I've seen you've
Right.
seen
Yes.
that. So we always have people coming in
Even
observing
today.
our class, even today, especially today.
I saw that.
Yeah. And so, and one of the things, a lot of times adults will always joke like, oh, have been in school for a while, so I may not, understand anything. If you're not understanding what was supposed to be the focus of the lesson when you walk out of the class, and I haven't done my job. And that's how we have to look at it, is that it should not be relayed in such a way that's so complicated and so layered that that other people are not able to follow along with what you're doing, because you are teaching them.
Right.
You're not just conveying information. And that's one of the things that I'm seeing you more and more confident with mastering, is the idea of I have to get through this material, but I have to do these particular things that students have to have in order to deliver this material.
Right.
And then I have to check for understanding as well. And then I want them to enjoy it.
Right.
So, it's when you sit down and look at the separate parts when you're planning, it seems like so much. And then when you're in the middle and the flow of actually teaching, it all comes together in one solid delivery.
Yes. And one last point.
Mhm.
When it comes to professionalism in the community, I I've observed how you've worked together with your team and even putting together the standard and what is needed for grade level as well as
District wide.
wow.
Yeah. So
Yes.
and this is the thing, it just really depends on your school system as to how fractured or how joined together all of those things are. We're very lucky with Dodea, is that of course I'm the only seventh grade science teacher that's here. And so being able to go throughout the district and all of us having common assessments and common activities and common labs is very helpful, because then we get a chance to have professional discussions and dialogue about what works, what doesn't, our learning goals, and making sure that the interpretation of the standard is the correct one. 'Cause
Right.
we're people, and so the interpretation sometimes of the standards, because we're professionals, we're often left to be very autonomous. And so it is possible to misinterpret a standard or a sub goal that we have for the students to reach. And having that discussion with other like-minded professionals really helps to make sure that we're all on the same path and we all have the same understanding. So I get to bring that to you because you're an extension of my region, my district.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it definitely has been a pleasure and a joy. I thought it's a wonderful one more question.
Yeah.
But then there's the other duties, the other things that come up,
Mhm.
and then bring it together with collaboration with even like programs for the students.
Yes. Well, just like you're in your lesson, you incorporated an opportunity for the special education professionals
Yes.
to work with the kids, and also a little bit more collab. You didn't get a chance to do a full-on collaboration with them. I know the time is very limited because right now we have them split between classes.
Right.
But the time that you did have them in the room, you made great use of. In the other class,
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, and of course, consulting with the ESL specialist
Mhm.
as well as the gifted teacher,
Right.
doing a pop in and saying, "Hey, I'm just checking on these kids." So I think you did very well to make sure that those aspects are taken care of. It's one of the things that the our gifted teacher here is very happy with is the layers within the planning and the assignment to address all of the different needs of all of the different
Right.
levels of
Right.
learning.
The I did have an opportunity to see a lot of pushing as well
Mm-hmm.
in some of the other classes, and then also go to the sped room where the students are able to take tests in a quiet area or
Yeah.
and read the test to several students.
Yes.
So there were good components
Mm-hmm.
that, although I'm glad I was able to be here
Yes.
most of the time, I still got snippets here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, as far as the students having an opportunity for motivational programs within the
Mm-hmm.
school, diversity, inclusion, equity.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we're at the end of the marking period.
Yeah.
Students have to get a lot of homework in
Yes.
and a lot of tests and not
Mhm.
tests, but things finished.
Test-
They have a lot to
test too. Yeah.
right. They have a lot to complete especially if they were absent. But then to be given, okay, here's a project that the school is doing, and you're
Yes.
supporting it, and
Yeah.
I love the
Well,
way
I mean,
that you're just showing me like it can be done. Because for me,
yeah.
when I was just a brand new teacher, it was like now we have to do this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've shown me, okay, it can get done. Just
It's just putting it in your plans and being very intentional about how you, because again, when we talk about pacing and figuring out how much time something is probably going to take
right,
via the children and the personalities that you've come to know and where they're at in that process. The psychology part of it, where you're understanding the developmental level and what the tendencies are for that particular age group as
yes,
well. All that plays in together. So, yeah, I mean, like since day one, we've had all these projects. We had the grammar idol where we
yes,
had to work that into our schedule. We had the speech and debate. We had to
yes,
work that into our schedule. We had um, the a couple of assemblies and programs we
right,
had to work in. And it's like, okay, well, we've only got 30 minutes instead
exactly,
of 87.
right.
What do we do with that? And how do we plan for the next lesson? So it's something, it's funny because when you think of a teacher and you think of planning for a class, you always think, okay, I'm going to make the plan.
Yes.
And then every day I get to do this part of the plan.
Hmm.
And first of all, on our schedule, we don't have every day.
Right.
And then there's so many other moving parts to the school day. We had a fire drill
Yes.
day, and then they postponed the fire drill and put it on a different day.
And a different kind of drill as well.
Oh, yes, shelter in
Shelter in
place.
place drill. Right.
Mhm. Yes.
So it's just
Yeah. You just,
the
but
ball keeps rolling. You just got to
yeah, you're
keep
like,
going with the flow.
okay, well, that's 20 minutes that's gone. All right, so how do we recalibrate?
Yes.
And the kids, they never know. They have no
Ah.
idea that that wasn't a part of your plan or that there is a plan really.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm not randomly up here just talking about these things. There's some real true planning that went into what comes first, second, and third. So yeah.
true. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you would like to add? And
I just want to say
anything else I can improve on?
I think
I want to keep growing.
I think you're growing beautifully, and I think the most important thing to remember is that teachers never stop growing. You never stop building on your craft or building your craft up. And so embracing every moment as, your own teachable moments
Right.
is important. So I'm looking forward to seeing you fully confident with all of your content because I know it's a lot. I mean, it's like I've been doing what I've been doing for, 20 something years.
Right.
And so when you're working specifically with one content area for such a long time, there's a lot of material you just kind of store in there. And then, of course, the curriculum puts a spin on things. And so you have done a marvelous job of coming into a situation where, you know, it's all new information, and you're just like, no, I got this. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And the kids are like, okay, well, yeah, she knows what she's talking about. I'm gonna. That is a big telltale sign right there. When the kids are right along with you, and they're like, oh yeah, you must know.
Well, it definitely has been enjoyable. I'm so glad that I was in here with you and had that opportunity to get into the labs and the crystal lab and building those and watching them grow, the microscopes and the
Yes.
waves with the water and the slinky
Yes.
and the jump ropes, and there was other ones, the slides, just
Oh yeah.
I mean,
We do a
so
lot.
much.
Yes.
And it's just, I'm just only here for a part. This only. So, but
Yes.
it's been a great opportunity, great experience, and I thank you so much.
You are so very welcome, and thank you as well.
Have a great one.
All right. Take it easy.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.